will make it to be worth your while. Somehow.
So these are the little girls. Choose whether to rescue or harvest. If I harvest, I get maximum. You know. But she won't survive. Rescuer, less Adam, but Tenenbaum has promised to make it worth your while. I am absolutely fine with saving them because I already know, you know. So I'm going to rescue. Triangle.
No! 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 Thank you. Thank you for helping
The
me.
path of the righteous is not always easy, yes. The reward will become clear in time. Be patient.
Tenenbaum's playing you for a sap. Those things may look like wee little girls, but looks don't make it so. You need all the Adam you can get to survive.
Poor
If you
Mr.
cross
Bubbles.
paths with another of them gatherer's garden machines, make sure you pick up a new plant one or two. That's if the price ain't too dear, of course.
Alright. This is where Adam comes into effect. So I could get a new plasmid, or I could upgrade myself. And the reason I save them is because, you know, I don't get as much. It's annoying, but it helps you manage more, and that's the biggest part in this game. I don't know if I need health because I constantly have health kits. I've never really had a problem. I might upgrade my Eve. Yeah, I'm just going to upgrade my Eve because that's the best one to get. And then the next one would be a health upgrade. And then 4.
Not only are those little girls veritable atom factories, they're nearly indestructible. They regenerate any wounded flesh with stem versions
Wait,
of
what?
the dead cells.
What is this? Golden Film Reels. You've unlocked an episode of the director's commentary. Play it now or view it later from the main menu. Spoiler warning. The commentary contains in-depth discussion of the plot details, including the ending. First-time players may wish to complete the game before viewing. So, I will view this on my own time. I'm pretty sure you guys can find this somewhere else.
Relationship with the implanted slugs is symbiotic.
You know what? Fuck it. We'll just play it.
BioShock was groundbreaking in many regards when it released in 2007, though fundamentally it shared many consistencies with Irrational's System Shock series. What elements of System Shock translated into BioShock, and what was refined, altered, and innovated upon to create the world of Rapture? Let's take a look at the long road from System Shock to BioShock.
Let's do it. Let's see. Behind the Pitch, hosted by Geoff Keighley.
Everyone knows where the game ended up, but I think fans would be interested to learn where this game or the idea of doing this game started. And I think, you know, folks know System Shock and the legacy of that game, huge fan base. Did it start as a System Shock game initially?
No, I mean, because we didn't have the rights to that,
Yeah.
right? We kind of felt that there was more game design to mine there. You know, that it was sort of, we did that one game, and it was sort of the first game that really combined shooting and RPG. And it was a very small budget. You know, it was a very small team, and it was the first game we had ever done. So we got pretty lucky, I think, in terms of how well it came out. But but the odds were sort of stacked against it. And the team, was really enthusiastic about doing a game like that. And time had evolved, and the team was much more. We had done a bunch of games together, and we were, we had a stable technology base, and we were like, okay, well, which System Shock 2 was not. I mean, that engine, no game had ever shipped on that engine. It was a very crude piece of technology. Most of us had never shipped a game at the time. So like, well, what if we had a stable technology base and we had a team that was more experienced and more seasoned, and we had, you know, an actual, like, art director, and, you know, which we didn't really have on System Shock 2. You know, what could we do? And so I think there was a lot of enthusiasm in the team to really try to do a more mature version of that kind of game. You know, this is before we had sold the company to Take-Two, and we were an independent developer, right? We were sitting there, we were using the money we made from other development deals we had, and we would try to scrape together whatever time and money we had to work on this thing. And it was not actually something I was particularly keen on doing. The team was much more keen on doing a sort of a System Shock-ish game than I was, because...
That's what you were pitching, right? Like System Shock 3 at one point, right?
Well, I mean, there was an actual System Shock 3 that we were pitching back in the day when we were right after System Shock 2, but that never happened.
Right, yeah.
We couldn't get anybody interested because System Shock 2 sold like 5 copies, right? And so as the business guy, the guy who had to not only just sort of write the content, but the guy who had to go out and get the deals and pay everybody, I wasn't particularly excited about doing this because it was very disappointing when we did System Shock 2 and nobody bought it. You know, it got great reviews, it got these insane reviews, but it left us in a place where it didn't really move the needle for us in terms of making payroll. So I wasn't super excited about it because I didn't see a publisher be interested in it, and I didn't see the audience actually being particularly interested in this kind of game. And it was really the team who convinced me to invest in this because their enthusiasm. I think a lot of them came to the studio because of System Shock 2. And so finally, they sort of battered me down. And it's good they did because I was not the first fan of doing this.
And I know initially there was something called the Serene Dawn. That was a spaceship? Or what was that?
No, that was
the name of a cult, right?
Oh,
yeah.
That's right. Okay.
That one's, I think, been lost to the... If I remember correctly, Serene Dawn was a cult. You were playing as a deprogrammer that was infiltrating the cult, and your name happened to be Carlos Coelho, who was one of our programmers at the time.
It's named after him, yeah. Then there was a story notion that I always really found interesting, which was that you have these cults, and you have sometimes people who they're these sort of characters who are really live on the edge of the gray morality, which is these guys who come in and essentially kidnap people out of these cults or rescue them, depending on how you look at it. Because what it really is, from a functional standpoint, it's a kidnapping, right? You're coming to an adult and you're saying, you know, you're hired by their parents or whoever. And this was in the story. It was like a senator whose daughter joined one of these religious movements called the Serene Dawn, you said?
Yeah,
the Serene Dawn. And I always thought that was a really interesting tension of this hero who's basically a kidnapper and taking a young woman against her will out of the place that she was in. Now, you could also make the other argument that, well, she was not really there by her will. But there's a really interesting conversation that goes on there. I think there was actually a Kate Winslet movie.
Well,
if you harvest the slug, the host will
I think I'm done with that. I'm going to end this episode here. I know that was boring and I apologize,
it's more
but...
like removing a terminal patient from life support.